Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the part 2 of the prior video, and in this video I just want to do a short recapitulation of what I said before, not in my prior video but an earlier video that I posted, the video that titles Must Watch. So I'm just gonna start here in Matthew chapter 24, and I just want to give you a little background here of what's happening, the outline that Jesus Christ gave us, the events that will happen. So, in the prior verses, he's talking about an affliction to the people of Israel, because he's talking about an invasion from the nations, the Antichrist having Jerusalem under siege, invading Israel. And in that background is verse 21. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." And I just want to make a connection from this verse to another verse that we find in here, the Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 to 3. It says, "And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, and every one that shall be found written in the book, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever." Now, clearly we see that this is talking about the catching away, the rapture, and that's where I'm getting at here. That verse that we saw here, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." This is when the rapture will happen, as shown in Daniel chapter 12, verse 1 to 3, we just read. So let's have another confirmation to this, in which we're going to see in Revelation chapter 7, verse 13. And it says, "And one of the elders answered and sang unto me, What are these which are arrayed in white robes? And whence came they? And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Okay? From where did they come? From the great tribulation. And where was the great tribulation mentioned? Here. Once again, here. Okay? It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." All right? And that's what it's referring to. Now, let me show you more confirmation here, okay, that this is indeed the case. We go down the verses here, and verse 29 says here, "Immediately after the tribulation of those days," which tribulation? The great tribulation that Jesus said, right? "Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the Son of Men in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn." All right, where do we see this? Then all the tribes of the earth mourn. We discussed this in the prior video. "And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other." Okay, and this is the catching away, the rapture. All right, as we discussed, this is the event here. Okay, verse 21, when these things will happen. So now, as I mentioned here before, let me re-review this verse in verse 30. And then shall appear the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. So as I wanted to triple verify here for you, and we'll see here in Zechariah, and I'll show you that verse is here. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son. Okay, this is about the catching away, the rapture, right? As also shown in Revelation 1:7. This is what is written in Revelation 1:7. You can go and check yourself. That says, then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. Because this is telling you, this is indeed the rapture, the catching away. So having that in mind, let's go back here. Let me go to the next verse. It says, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. For the elect's sake. Okay, just to make sure that this is indeed the elect. Let me go to Mark chapter 13, verse 20. And as you know, the Synoptic Gospel have parallel verses, and this is it. Mark 13:20 says, and except that the Lord has shortened those days, no flesh should be saved, but for the elect's sake, whom he had chosen, he had shortened those days. So whom he had chosen. Many will be called, and few are chosen. He had chosen the elect. Those are the elects that are chosen. And we have this. Okay, so we know here that the elect are here. The elects are still here in the Great Tribulation right before the rapture. But it begs a question. This is the question. Who are these elects in Revelation? We know they are chosen people. Who are these elect from Revelation before the rapture? Well, there are the two witnesses, the 144,000, the seed of the woman, right, the saints. They are the elect. They're still here in Matthew chapter 24. And then that they will be raptured at this stage. And that's what it means. And I want you to keep that in mind as we go through the videos that will come, because it's important to know this. But before I call it the end of this video, I just want to point out an additional thing that we should be aware of, just to have more confirmation, because many of you do not agree with this, but I'll show you. That indeed this is the case. Where is that verse? Sorry, I just want to find that verse. All right, so we're going to go to all right, I can find it, but so let's go to Luke chapter 21, verse 20. Okay, it says, And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, right? When ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Okay, and then we'll go down here, and it says, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And I want you to remember this because this will come later. What does this mean? Jesus is telling us that the time of the Gentiles, all the ones who were to be saved from the Gentiles have finished. Then he'll go to save the Jewish people. That's what he mean in basic basic understanding. So let me go here to Romans chapter 11, verse 24 to 28. Okay, for you to understand this. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in, until all those people who are destined for salvation has come in. And so all Israel shall be saved, right? When that is finished, then we go to all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. For this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sins. So where do we see this? Hold on a second. Where do we see this? But before we proceed, I just want to mention one thing. It says, then shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob, for this is my covenant unto them, when I shall take away their sin. Let's do a connection here to chapter 14, Revelation, where it says, and I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. Okay, these are in the Mount Zion. So the deliverer comes here. They shall come out of Zion, the deliverer, okay, the Mount Zion, which are the Lamb and the 144,000, right? Shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. So I want to go back to Zechariah with this in mind to show you where that happens here. Okay, in Zechariah chapter 13, verses 8 to 9 should suffice, but there are other parts where it shows that. Okay, but here. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, but the third shall be left therein. And I'll bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord is my God. So there you go. In let me see. But just to show you, though, that not all Israel will be saved, because Paul said that all Israel will be saved. He meant all the remnant of Israel will be saved, which shows in Romans 9:27. It says, Isaiah also cried concerning Israel, though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, a remnant shall be saved. A remnant shall be saved. So he's talking about the remnant of Israel, 1/3 that remains out of the whole. Okay, so There you go. And I just want to go over once again. I want to direct your attention to this verse here in Daniel. Okay, we read this verse. So what I want to direct your attention here is this verse here, where Daniel asked, "How long shall it be to the end of these wonders?" All right, that's an important question to ask. How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? Okay, and he says, the reply is this, "And I heard the men clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swore by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time, times and a half," meaning 3.5 years. 3.5 years. Okay, so in Revelation, when he refers to the woman being in the wilderness for 3.5 years, is the same time as the beast ruling for 3.5 years, is the same time as the two witnesses accomplishing their task in 3.5 years. The same as the seed of the woman is given 3.5 years, right? The abomination that make a desolation happens at the end of the 3.5 years, as you will see down here. Okay. He says, "And from the time that daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that make it desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days, which is 30 days more than 1,260 days, as told in Revelation." The discrepancy is just how you count. Do you do it literally or symbolically? So basically, it's more or less the same time, 3.5 years. Okay, so and what I'm trying to say here is tribulation will be 3.5 years, not 7 years, not 3.5 years plus 3.5 years plus 3.5 years plus 3.5 years. No, it is 3.5 years with overlapping sequences. All right, they all overlap in that 3.5 years. And that's how we should understand Revelation. That's how it's written, an overlapping sequence of things. It's a narration that overlaps. Let's put it that way. It is not a chronological order, unless it would be more than 3.5 years. Okay, we must have that in mind. And at that time, when you have that in mind, you'll understand better what's happening in what Matthew chapter 24 and the Revelation. Okay, when they say 3.5 years to the woman, okay, in Revelation 12, or 3.5 years in Revelation 11 to the two witnesses. In chapter 13, we see the beast given 3.5 years. All these things will happen in 3.5 years. "And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and sware by him that liveth forever, that he shall be for a time, times and a half," 3.5 years. Okay, and I'll give you more evidence of this, but that's another video actually. But it is 3.5 years. But it also says something very interesting here attached to this. It says, "And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished." All right, and as I discussed in my prior video, the two witnesses, which has all the powers, all right, they were killed. And this is a reference to that. "And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished." In other translation is shattered. All right, it's a scatter, but when all the powers are gone, because they were killed. not because they're vulnerable. I mean, they are vulnerable, but what I'm saying, they have accomplished their purpose. So God is allowing that to happen. Okay, and I have to leave it at here because hopefully I can wrap up in the next video. Thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you'll go on your own and verify these things and have your own meditation, thinking about these verses and their connection to one another to verify indeed what I'm telling you is happening. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in my next video.